They're both 2-4 as the Saints take on the Cardinals. And what a difference it is, because it was Week 8 last year when the Cardinals were unbeaten, Chris.
It's crazy.
Green Bay Packers. That
Right.
was that epic Thursday night game
with
the great gif of Aaron Rodgers' crazy eyes, helmet all
chin
askew,
strap in his nose.
chin strap in his face. That was a great game, and that was the one that derailed the Cardinals season, because that's where Kyler Murray suffered the ankle injury on the next to last play of the game. And remember, the game was decided by the failure of A.J. Green to realize the ball was being thrown his way, and it was intercepted, and that was that. So it just shows you what a difference a year can make, because now the Cardinals, who started 10-2 last year, now have twice as many losses through half as many games at 2-4.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. It really is. They're not the same football team. I don't want to say they're not the same football team. Half their team is not the same. The defense is stingy and a pain in the butt. And you take away week 1, right, which it's okay to take away week 1. That's always a crazy week, and you had to play the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at the Cardinals' defense, it's the real deal. They're extremely well coached, right? The Vance Joseph's very creative. They don't have a really talented D-line. It's not like, oh, wow, their front four can get there all the time. But they're not bad. J.J. Watt's still a force. I mean, Marcus Golden's not a bad player. They're just not a dominant that way. But they're pretty good against the run. They got very athletic linebackers. They got 2 safeties, and number 34 Thompson and Budda Baker, that I would put up there with the best duos in the game. They got very good corners, Marco Wilson, Byron Murphy Jr. They're ballers. So the defense is holding up its end of the bargain. All you got to do is pull up the schedule and look at the scores and go, oh, they are. It's the offense that's sucky-ducky, Mike. I mean, it's pitiful. And I don't know where you want to begin on that subject, but there's issues across the board. It's a spread offense that really make any plays throwing the football. I mean, they're in the bottom of almost every category. I mean, they really are. Yards per play is really where they're horrible. Their total yards per game is not bad, but they don't score points, right? They're not very good on third down, Mike. And their average yards per play, as you just watch their games, I mean, it's spread football, 3-yard pass, 4-yard pass, 3-yard pass, 4-yard pass. Look at their drives. There's 18-play drives, 15-play drives for field goals. So it's the offense that's got a lot of the assets and money as far as the salary cap are concerned, and they're not holding up their end of the deal for sure in this one.
And think of how last season ended, because after 10-2, they fell apart. That's in keeping with the trend that is proven by the Cliff Can't Finish graphic that we put up from time to time, dating back to 2013, his first year as a head coach at Texas Tech. The good news is this year has busted the trend, because they aren't starting strong. And when you go all the way back to last year, when they beat the Cowboys, no, not the Cowboys, the Bears, excuse me.
Yeah,
they beat
the one
Bears
in Chicago.
5,
right.
33-22, pushing the Cardinals to 10-2. Since then, they are 3-9, including the playoff loss to the Rams. 3 wins, 9 losses. So from 10-2 to 3-9 in their 12 games since then. Something has fallen off, and they can't get it back on track on a consistent basis in Arizona. And, Chris, after the season ended, there was the initial consternation regarding Cliff Kingsbury. There was reporting that Michael Bidwell, the owner of the team, was livid. And there was a thought that maybe Kingsbury was going to be in trouble. I had him on the list of coaches who needed to at least be thinking about putting a for sale sign out in the front yard. And then Kingsbury gets an extension.
Yeah.
And GM Steve Keim gets an extension through 2027. And that just seemed like a long time.
Yeah.
And I just wonder whether it was an effort to stabilize the situation for at least 1 year. We don't know the terms of the extensions.
Yeah, that's
more
fishy.
and more of these coaching contracts aren't fully guaranteed.
Right. Parts of it are, but yeah, you're right.
Parts are, but we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how much money Cliff Kingsbury's making. Usually you hear something.
Right.
You get some report. You have some idea where this coach fits in the overall hierarchy of veteran coaches who have been around and who have have taken the team to the playoffs. And that was the big argument. They've gotten better every year. They were terrible before Cliff Kingsbury got there. They've gotten better every year. They were terrible before Kyler Murray got there. They've gotten better every year. Then Kyler Murray gets his extension, and there's all that stuff about his study clause. There's just been this cloud of dysfunction hanging over the team, and are we surprised they're 2-4 because of it? And it all comes down, Chris, we talked about it after Matt Rule was fired. We've talked about it in the past about Cliff Kingsbury. Other college coaches, Urban Meyer last year, prime example of it. I just don't believe guys who primarily made their way in college, when they get to the NFL, I know Cliff Kingsbury played in the NFL, and he was with NFL teams before he became a college coach. I just think they lack the understanding that the all-in, full-time NFL coach has as to how to properly button up everything, how to properly self-scout, how to properly scout the other team, how to properly stay just a little bit ahead of what you're doing and what they're doing to create game plans. It's system at the college level. I got a great system, and I got great athletes. So it doesn't matter if I have stuff on film that's being picked up, little nuances that I can't even begin to grasp. And I don't have to spend the time figuring out where my weaknesses are or where their weaknesses are. I got a bunch of great athletes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put the ball in their hands. I think back to the Rich Rodriguez West Virginia Mountaineers. There were 4 plays.
Yeah.
And
right.
Everybody was faster on one side of the ball than they were on the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
So the X's and O's fell apart because you give the guy the ball who's really fast and he's gone. So I feel like that's where we are.
Yeah.
And the spread offense with the superior athlete doesn't work in the
Not
NFL.
in the NFL,
because
right.
the gap isn't big enough.
Exactly.
And those other
That's it,
athletes
Mike.
are going to figure out how to get to you.
Exactly
Because they're
right.
studying your film and they know exactly what you're doing before you're even doing it.
Right. You're not going to be that superior to the majority of the defensive players in the league like you're talking about. This is not college football where, yeah, you could be at a school, you could be coaching at Texas A&M like Cliff Kingsbury was at one point, or even Texas Tech, and step on the field some games and just go, oh, we're so much clearly better than them, we could run 3 plays the whole game and win the football game. It's different, Mike. I'm with you. I used to be a little bit like forgiving for that thought, but I think over the last year and a half or so, you've nailed down that point, and I'm with you in that it's just a different world. It's a different game. I've always known that for sure, and I think you bring up all the right points. It's just the specific game planning that doesn't go on with college football coaches for the majority. Again, no disrespect. I love college football. But even when I was working at Notre Dame, I mean, it would be, I'd do the games right on Saturday and fly back and, do all that stuff. You remember that a few years ago. I was always a little bored watching film in college football. Oh, same coverage. Oh, same coverage. Oh, same coverage. Oh, same coverage. Oh, well, wait, I've seen this play on the offensive side of the ball. It's the end of the first quarter. I've seen this play 5 times already. So that's where it's different, and that's what is showing when you look at Arizona. And to your point with like Rich Rodriguez, Cliff Kingsbury grew up in that same school there. He wasn't really involved in the NFL world very much. He had a cup of tea as a player, basically, and the same thing as far as an assistant is concerned. And
now, you know what? I'm looking at it now, Chris. He never was an assistant at the NFL level.
No,
for some reason I thought he was with New England for a short period
of time. He was a de facto player, quality control guy when he was in New England. He was on. So that's where I think maybe you thought that.
1 year.
Right.
He was
1
in New
year.
England 1 year.
Right.
2003.
And then
got a ring.
He got a ring. Right. And went right back to college. But, so, yeah, hey, he played quarterback, under Mike Leach and company. I played against them in college. Mike Leach had a sheet, and I'm not joking you, and go watch Mississippi State now. This big, and he just would go, well, we'll do that one. There was had to be 10, 20 plays on there. Now, Cliff Kingsbury's sheet's bigger than that, but the concepts are just too ordinary. They're too elementary. And then, like, Mike, you watch the Cardinals a lot. We both, enjoy watching Kyler Murray and what he can bring to the table. So, but you see it. Life is hard for them. There's no explosive plays. They're last in the league in yards per play in the pass game. It's dink and dunk as it ever gets. It's 2-player reliant. And then, of course, as you know, in that offense, the run game's really an afterthought. It's an afterthought. So there's no attitude to smash mouth and do that. Their running statistics are better than what they really are because Kyler Murray scrambles for some great runs every now and then. But the traditional hand it off to the running back, negative Ghost Rider. That's sucky ducky too. Or they don't even really want to do it. That's the point. And then I think when you couple that with the Kyler Murray, the biggest flaw in his game is something that you and I have talked about, and we all saw in that playoff game last year with the Rams. He does not make a lot of big throws in the pocket with people around him, and that's the name of the game. I mean, you know that, right? I mean, we watched Mahomes and Allen last weekend, and they're moving around, and people are around them, and it doesn't matter. Oh, wait, there's 5 guys on me, and it's 3rd and 9. Doesn't matter. I'm going to, boom, throw another 20-yard throw. You know, Brady in his prime, whoever. That's what they do. And so they got some major flaws, Mike, on that side of the ball.
I'm looking at Cliff Kingsbury's background. First of all, you and he entered the NFL the same year.
Same year, yeah.
The light bulb finally went off in my brain after all these years. Although he, at a Texas institution, was the AP National Offensive Player of the Year for 2002. What do you have to say for yourself about that?
Yeah, well, hey, that's good for him. He was a good player. They threw the ball 70 times a game.
But it's that same system. It's that same system.
They threw it 70 times a game. Right, it is. And that's where, again, I think to your point with the college and the NFL, where the NFL guys maybe not be as good on the personality connecting with players level, but they're all in on all the points you said. Football. I got to do this. Chess move here. I got to self-scout myself. Oh, wait, last week I did this. This week I got to do that off of it. This team does this, so I got to come up with a group of plays against that. And then I feel like the college coaches are, for lack of a better way to say it, they're city slickers. They're smooth talkers. They get the guys in there. Hey, we love you. You the man. Hey, oh, whoa. We could do all that. But they don't really want to coach. They don't really want to get in the nitty-gritty, like Urban Meyer leaving the office at 6 o'clock every day. And so that's where I think there's a difference there too. And I think it's showing right now. That is for sure. I mean, it's really painful to watch a team that, again, shouldn't be what they are on the offensive side of the ball. They shouldn't be this. Not that I'm blown away by their talent, but it's still good enough to be, more points, more yards, everything, more explosive than what it is. That's for sure.
But, Chris, the whole bet was that the Cliff Kingsbury system would work.
Right.
They drafted Kyler Murray. They had just used a top 10 pick, traded up to get Josh Rosen the year before, and he wasn't so bad that they would have thrown him overboard without having Kyler Murray land in their laps.
Exactly.
It wasn't like Josh Rosen was a disaster.
Right.
It was, we can get Kyler Murray.
Yes.
And that was a talking point for a while in the 2019 offseason. Like, really? You're going to throw this kid overboard that you traded up to get with the 10th overall pick and you don't know what he is yet? Now, maybe they had an inkling because he hasn't done anything since then.
Yeah.
But it was controversial.
Right.
So the point was the system. I mean, hell, and it's funny how time goes by and one year becomes the next year and you forget things. He was the offensive coordinator and the position coach for Johnny Manziel in 2012 at Texas A&M when he won the Heisman.
Right.
So he's been in this freewheeling, draw it up in the dirt.
Exactly.
Ours are better than yours. Ours are faster than yours. Ours can run circles around yours. College football spread offense mindset that has been around for the past 20 years. And it kind of worked in 2019. It kind of worked in 2020. It really worked last year until it didn't. And now it's just not working. And what a shock. 4 years of film where I doubt that they make a lot of changes year in and year out to the system, Chris.
No, that's exactly
I doubt that they go to the lab and say, what can we do to overhaul this offense?
Right.
The offense stays the same.
Right.
So the defensive minds in the NFL get more and more adept at what it takes to shut down and slow down. And the one piece they had, the one puzzle piece they had, is Kyler Murray, because he does have the physical ability to outrun most defensive players. But they've still figured out how to contain him, how to keep him from killing you.
Yes, exactly.
And we haven't seen those games this year where Kyler Murray comes out and runs for a couple of touchdowns and throws for a couple, and he's zing, zing, zing everywhere, and,
exactly.
and they can't stop it. They have solutions now for Kyler Murray.
Yeah, they do. Well, I think there's enough like mobile quarterbacks in football and and guys that can escape the pocket to where, to your point, you're saying it right. Teams are used to it. Not that they're going to stop it all the time, but every other week, defenses are playing a quarterback that can get out of the pocket. Maybe not to the extent Kyler Murray can, but it's a learned skill now. Oh wait, we're playing a skilled quarterback. Oh wait, we got to go to that, check the boxes of what we do when we play that type of quarterback that runs around. So between that and, hey, you said it, it's the NFL. The talent gap is extremely narrow. And then when you throw in that a lot of these kids have seen the spread on a weekly basis in college football on the defensive side of the ball, and that there's some spread principles throughout the NFL, they've gotten used to defending that stuff too, let alone, to your point, Mike, it's 4 years. They have had moments of being good. I think people got, the inventory to look at a little bit with them and go, all right, wait, when they have two receivers here and the outside receiver runs this route, then the inside receiver usually runs a route that goes outside too, right? They can start to piece things together. And that's what you see is just not a lot of open people, not a lot of explosive plays, nothing down the field. I mean, it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust in the spread offense. I mean, last in the NFL in yards per pass play, 19 points a game. I mean, field goal fest every week. The offense, that's all there is to it with Arizona. They got to pick up their end of the bargain. 9 points against Seattle last week. Seattle's defense, 2 weeks ago, we just saw the Saints having a highlight show running through it. I mean, everybody moves the ball in Seattle. Defense holds the Eagles to 20 points. Offense can only get 17. They get 26 against Carolina. I mean, it's 12 against the Rams. I mean, everything every week is a struggle, and it's tough to watch. It's not very fun right now.
And as Kyler Murray said, rookie year is the last time things felt this difficult. Remember, this is a guy who lost 3 games total between his college and high school football careers. He's lost 3 of his last 4 in the NFL, and as I said earlier, 3-9 over the last 12. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.